So, few of you have joined today. So, I'm going to begin my session. Yeah, uh, I'll just start. I'm trying to, see that this PPT starts functioning. I'm working on that. Just give me 2 minutes and I'll just start with it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, just give me 2 minutes because I'm not used to, using PPTs. So sometimes it gives me trouble to start it. Uh, Let me just try for some time. Yeah. Just, hello.
Yes, doctor. Good afternoon.
यार वो भी मूव नहीं हो रहा, वो
How are you
देखने का भी
doing?
लेकिन वो भी मूव नहीं हो रहा, मुझे वो मूव करने का भी सिस्टम समझ नहीं आ रहा है। आगे पीछे नहीं हो रहा है, वो देख रही हूँ क्या करूँ अभी मैं। कहाँ से होता है ये मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा। वही तो नहीं। जस्ट हाँ, हाँ, आ तो रहा है। हाँ, हाँ, यूनिट 4 आ गया ना। हाँ, मुझे इसी को करना है, या तो मैं वहां से अगर ये इसमें दिख रहा है, I'll go back to my slide and I'll see that it is visible to you all and I'll speak from there. So now I'll do that. Yeah, it's visible, no? Hello. Yeah. See, yesterday we studied about the 3 units of our first block. So our first block is basically our family life education. This is the first block, and we yesterday covered the 3 units. First unit is the concept of family life. Second unit is the family life education, concept and meaning. And third unit was importance of family life education. So today I'm going to start with our fourth unit, that is role of home, school and religion in imparting school education. So this is what we are going to talk today. So, so basically, it's very important because as yesterday we studied that the role of individual, role of family, and role of community. We studied for family life education. So today, in this unit, we are going to study the role of home, school, and religion in imparting family life education. So we will understand first the role of home because that is something which is very important. I think it is very easy for all of us to relate with this topic because we all are coming from families, from homes. So I think whatever we are going to study today in this unit, you all can relate with that. It will be very easy for you to understand. See, home is basically is the ideal place to tell the story of life and to give training in family life. So this is important. The way people act in adult life is strongly influenced by their experience and training in the early childhood at home. Basic attitude established in the home during the early years that will dominate later attitude. So the family has to take up the major role in imparting education at various stages of a child development. Mainly, what all are there? That is physical development, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual. You see. Uh, now, just yeah. So when we say, so parents as educators, the first thing we are going to study about parents as educators. So this parents as educator means home is basically is the school of schools, and parents are teachers. They are par excellence. The child's intimacy with the parents during the formative years influences the personality of the child. Again, the personality of an adult individual is generally influenced by childhood experiences at home. See, basically, the family standards and values act as a guide in later family life. That's very important. See, a home also provide opportunities for open expression of personal, emotional, and social behavior. Children without parents are at greater risk. They can be involved in drugs and alcohol. Among such children, these might be the chance of developing suicide tendencies of adulthood. You know, due to psychological disorders compared to teens living with parents. Actually, this is something which is very important for all of us to understand. If a child is living in a family environment, there is always a possibility for him and her to become a strong, a nice human being, a person who can understand and develop his personality accordingly. But children without family environment have difficulties to raise on. So this is what it is. Second is relevance of social work values. See, this is again very important. Here, as this is the course what we are doing is about the bachelor's in social work. We are going to study more and more aspects related to social work. See, relevance of social work values that has 12 important points. 12 core values. What are these core values? First, it is service to humanity. You know, service to humanity is something which is very, very important. Service to humanity means, how do we understand that? That means ideal of brotherhood of man with an element of self-sacrifice. This is what we learn. If we learn to sacrifice, that means we are concerned to humanity. You know, so self basically, serving others is more important than self-interest. Therefore, place the needs of other ahead of their own personal interest. There are people who believe and who give more importance to the people who are in front of them, the other people. If they have any problem, if there are any issues, so they are willing to understand and consider them. Then is social justice. So, what is social justice? Social justice is like social workers, everyone should challenge injustice in the society, particularly those against vulnerable, disadvantaged, oppressed, exploited, and the poorest of the poor. You know, then we have respect for dignity and worth of the person. This is again something important that we must learn to give dignity and worth to the people with whom we are interacting, who are there with us. We have to give them equal chances. So they are able to think, feel, plan, decide, and act in relation to their own worth and dignity. So this is again very important. Next is importance of human relationship. See, that means importance of the value of human relationship communicates the social worker understand service users concern and know how they feel, which will result in warm and healthy relationship. That's important. Then competence means people must practice within their areas of competence with responsibility and commitment to the helping professions and clients. That's important. Yeah. Then next is integrity. So integrity means important subset of value consist of those with ethical or social dimensions such as honesty, integrity, compassion, fairness, charity, and social responsibility. People must adhere to ethical principles, you know, of the profession by maintaining high code of behavior with honesty and trustworthiness. That's important. Then you have, you know, here is integrity. Integrity that is important, to live with honesty, integrity, compassion. And okay, next is hard work. Hard work is said to be the stepstone to success. See, if we do hard work, it is always there is possibility. Hard work always lead to success. From the childhood onwards, we teach our children to learn the skill of being doing hard work. If you are in school, if you do hard work, you can score good marks. If you are working, if you do hard work, you can get good results. So hard work always pays. That's important. Next is teachership. Teachership means social workers promote individual development and pursuit of clients, just as a teacher is involved in the development of each student entrusted by the school administration. So, social workers are also expected to inspire and motivate the clients and service seekers to face challenges, hurdles, and problems. Yeah. Next is loyalty to profession. It's very important that we must learn to be loyal in our profession. You know? So to develop a sense of loyalty and attachment towards one's own organization, it's very important. Then you have cultural sensitivity. So cultural sensitivity means everyone may be culturally aware and sensitive to one's own cultural heritage, values, and respect cultural differences. So no one should impose his or her ideas, beliefs, customs, and lifestyle on the clients, keeping in view the value of cultural sensitivity. Patriotism, one must learn to be patriotic, to use this patriotism. That means to be loyal and dedicated to the enrichment and enhancement of the aspirations of one's country, and one must work towards growth, development, perseverance of its values and culture. That shows, na, if you are patriotic, so you have to show that what all you can do for the growth and development of your country. That's important. Then you have responsibility and commitment. See, people should have a sense of responsibility and commitment towards one's family, organization, and society. They should be committed to promote social justice, bring upon changes in social system and structures. They are barriers to preserving equality, human rights, and natural environment. So these are a few things which we have learned, which are very important values. One needs in family life education. Next is family life education at home. See, we always believe and say home is the starting point for all kind of education. So child always basically images the child's image of his role as a boy or a girl or a husband and a wife, father or a mother, is very early in life by the emotional and social atmosphere enjoyed at home. So this is really something which is important, that family life education is always something that begins at home. In all the different characters we could hold, we could be husband wife in relationship, we could be in siblings relationship as a brother sister. So different kind of roles a boy or a girl can have, so they play a very important role in the family life education. That's important as a family life person. Then you have home and personality building. See, home and personality building means a good personality is the most valuable gift that parents can give to their children. For normal development of personality, child should have a satisfactory family life. However, in which parents and children share their joys and troubles, where they participate in recreational activities with friends and relatives, where there is always peace and happiness, that will produce well adjusted and socially confident individuals. So that's important. So basically, family living provides certain basic human needs more directly than in any other possible elsewhere. So parents who really love each other, see, that is very important here. It's very important for we all to understand that it makes a difference if the parents have love towards each other, that give a sense of security to their children. This is something we really need to learn from this. If the yeah, we all are coming from different kind of a family background, and we must have noticed where there is love, between the parents, the children always see that, and that impact their personality growth. So that makes a lot of difference in their life. This is what has been explained here. you know so these parents give an unconscious model of human relationship, because this will help the children to learn these basic ideas. The basic loyalty of the family group is never threatened. So this is important. Then, role of home in sex education. See, sex is something which has a vital role to play in family life. Today, many researchers have shown that intimacy, love, and companionship are the most important needs of the couples. These needs are satisfied mostly from sex relations. This elevates sex to a position of new importance in marriage. So this is again we need to learn, because if there is a sex and sex in a natural way, in a way of understanding of each other, that can really help. Unfortunately, children are exposed to too much too soon. That is also we have been observing and seeing nowadays, because there is a lot of exposure to children to many things. So that can, have a negative impact on the overall development of the child. So this is important. So what are all difficulties in exercising the role expected from home? So now we learn, what all difficulties are there. You know, when we say that home is a place from where we learn this family life education, so what difficulties we face, so we have to now learn about that. First of all, failure of parents. See, this is again something which is very important. Parents do not permit their children to encounter any hardship or hazards or ordinary risk of life. There is a tendency of overprotection and overambition. The overprotected children cannot face the normal risk of life in their later life. So that makes a difference in the family. It is generally observed. Just to give you an example with this, it is generally observed that nowadays in India also, maybe in South Africa also, maybe with many families, they are going for one or two children. When there is one or two children in the family, there is always a nature. It's a nature. It's probably something which is very common among the parents, that they are overprotected. Then they fulfill all the wishes, try to fulfill all the wishes of the child. So sometimes that hampers, that has a problem to for the overall personality development, overall growth of the child. That can happen. Next point is over expectations of the parents. See, over expectations means parents expect too much from their children. The education system is also very highly competitive. Children who cannot come up to parents' expectation, they may develop many behavioral problems. So sometimes they take even extreme step of taking committing suicide, attempt suicide, or commit suicide. And sometimes agar if their misery after failing in their pursuit of professional excellence, that is also a hazard. That's also a problem which is being faced. So these are the things what are generally observed. The when you over expect from the children, that can have many and many negative impacts on the growth of the child. By the time the child grows, and the child can take any extreme steps, and even go for the alcohol, drug addiction, and those kind of things can also take place. See, so workers can educate and motivate families to really understand their children, and educate them to not put undue pressure on him or her, which could lead to depression. Parents could be advised to keep the communication lines open and with their teenage children, so that the children can share their feelings or problems freely with their parents. This is something which is very important. The parents need to give that kind of an environment at home, that the children feel comfortable to share what they feel, what they see in their life. Huh? The atmosphere at home is such that they are in a position to talk about different issues with the parents. Rejected children. So now next is rejected children. That means parents Parental rejection basically is another problem. So parents who neglects a child rejects it. Parents who do not give their children attention, time, affection, companionship, supervision, discipline, uh, likewise any other things, are deprived them of a cozy and secure home. This rejection can result in attention seeking behavior, hostility to family members, frustration, anxieties, or extreme independence. So these children may not be able to become good partners and parents in their own families when they grow older, when they become adult. So these kind of children face family problems, family issues, to become a parent. So they will at that stage they will have the similar kind of problems, and they find it difficult to raise their own children. So this is been explained here. Then perfectionist parents, see, what do we mean by perfectionist parents? So some parents have very unrealistic fantasies of models, spotless, scratchless, and perfectly regimented homes. Their children may become extremely formal, rigid, unrelaxed. They may develop distorted personalities, which may end in marital breakdown later in their age. So this is again something, you know that this kind of approach can also have a negative impact on the children's growth in the family, in the home environment. Next, the indulgent and domineering parents. So, indulgent and domineering parents. What do we mean by this? An indulgent parent gives excessive privilege to children. The result is immaturity, which later leads to drugs, alcoholism, and an irresponsible way of living. So sometimes the domineering parents make all decisions for their children. Also, they don't allow their children to grow up maturity. You know, so these children go through life with fear and disrespect for all the authorities. If the children see that, they don't feel comfortable. Children of both indulgent and domineering parents develop distorted personalities, and they develop distorted kind of ideas also about marriage and family. They don't feel very comfortable with this approach. So that can happen, you know. So, see, now the next is roll up. 1 minute. So now we have to study about what is the role of schools in importing family life education. So till now we have studied the role of home. We have understood what all things are there, what all values as a social worker one need to have. Then we understand what are the difficulties, in the home the child can face, and how the child rearing can impact, the parents' nature can impact the overall growth of the child. So we have studied about that. Now we are going to study what is the role of school in imparting family life education. So school age basically, school age is basically a period at which a child's world widens gradually. She come into contact with others, socializing agents such as teachers, adults, and peers. So, school can provide more opportunities to learn about a family life. That's there. In many Indian homes, the parents are illiterate and they are not competent enough to give training in family life. So many of the old values and norms of family life are changing. We all can see that this is something which is everywhere. That we see the old values and norms of family life are changing. So in such circumstances, the school is more reliable agent, than the home to impart family life education. Schools have gone more detailed and systematic teaching than the parents. So that is there. Sometimes schools can, give a better kind of education to children due to a different reasons what the children face at home environment. So that's there. Then we study, about the role of teachers in imparting family life education. So in a school, A teacher is the key person in imparting family life education to children. The teacher should be competent, gifted person, every teacher in school can teach family living, you know so that's there. The sex education is one of the most important aspect of family life education. A teacher can give this education without much inhibition. Sometimes the teacher may feel uncomfortable, so teacher need to be, have to come out with this kind of a inhibition, you know, and can impart a noble understanding to this deepest personal mystery. Students, students basically the children prefer to discuss various issues with teachers than with parents. This is also we have seen and I have observed many times that children feel they are more comfortable to discuss certain things with their teachers. They can openly talk on many aspects related even with the about if it is a question of a sex education. They feel they can discuss with teachers. They are not comfortable to discuss that with at home with their parents or even with siblings. So that can be there. So they believe the teachers are better informed and better adjusted person. That's again there with the children because teacher sometimes we see in many circumstances the children feel their parents maybe due to illiteracy, due to different reasons or due to their over occupation or due to whatever reason not in a position to guide students or to inform children in a better way. So the children also feel that teachers are better equipped and they can answer to their queries. So teachers help children to understand themselves better and to make better adjustments in life. So that's there. Then we had role of the peer group. See, now the study we are going to talk about peer group. What is the role? What is the peer group role in family life education? So basically, peers have a greater influence on the attitudes, interests, and behavior of a child than the family has. The peer group helps the youth to get socialized, conforming to social patterns and norms. The youth is more open and free with peer group. This is something which we observe, here. Okay, there are, basically here we can talk about that the experience and information gained from the peer group, especially regarding sex and marriage, is generally more common in peer group kind of a setting. The information gathered may be wrong and dangerous also at times. The peer group members may be ill motivated, inexperienced persons also. So sometimes this kind of inaccurate and inadequate and even distorted information about sex and marriage creates unhealthy and wrong attitude towards sex and family life. It may also lead to serious mental disorders, complexes, maladjustments in behavior. So many problems in married life, even impotency, uh, guilt feeling, sex perversions, excessive sex interest, they are all the result of some of these kind of a negative influence of the peer group. So you can understand from this that the peers can play a very important role in one's development, and most of the time this wrong information can lead to very negative kind of a impact on the children that can hamper their future life. It could be their married life or a professional life, so it can have a negative impact on that. Yeah. Then next, see, next is role of religion. Role of religion in family, in imparting family life education. So we have now studied two of the important family life education. They were first was home and second was school, and now we are going to talk about role of religion. So role of religion in imparting family life education. So family life education was given through the families in an informal way by all religions in Indian context, because this is what what course you are studying. Here we are going to talk more and more about the Indian perspective. So, in the Indian context, a religion occupies a very important place in the life of an individual. Marriage and family are considered sacred and holy by all religion. Even in your country also, I believe this is a very general practice where we believe that marriage is something that has a very sacred meaning. It is to be considered a very holy thing, by more or less every religion considers that. So each religion has its own laws and regulation for marriage and family. Strong religious background is necessary for a successful married life, family life, है ना? So here is a God and give importance only to the material world. So this is there as of date in today's time. Youth, mostly youth, in more or less maybe it's there in every country. The youth is given more importance to material world. So secularism is again wrongly understood, you know word for the youth. So that's all the problems what we are saying. So for the formal training for family life was not never ever seriously thought by any religion, but due to high percentage of marital breakdowns and problems in family life nowadays, all religions are now talking about this matter quite seriously. you know so many religions, and especially in Christians, they have come out with very positive steps related to family life education. They are making attempts to give orientation in family life, and they are even trying and giving at certain places premarital and post-marital courses. They are offering these kind of courses. So family counseling also facilitates. Family counselings are also organized for premarital counseling. Also, even post-marital counselings are also organized. You know, so those kind of things are happening. So all religions basically have the responsibility to provide family life education for all its members. The youth should be given opportunity to learn about marriage and families before they enter into them. So religious values can reinforce the personality of our individual. So that's important. Religion can teach about religious values. That's very important. So now, after this, now we are going to we have studied all the three important aspects. One minute, just huh, huh. So now we are going to talk about methods of imparting family life education. This is again something which is very important. We really need to learn the value of this. So family life education basically is a lifelong process. It is not that something this is given only to a child of a certain age or a person of a certain age. This is something till we are alive, we learn the family life education values and things like that. It includes the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values involved in maturing into men and women. है ना? So this education should help the individual to find his or own personal role as a members of one's own sex in marriage, family life, and the community. Since family life education is mainly given by the home and school, we shall discuss the methods adopted by them in the different stages. So now we are going to study, yeah, as we said, that the basic family life education is given at home or in the school. So now we are going to study there are certain methods. So through methods they have explained the different way of going about it. So what are these methods? You know, so first is preschool stage. See, preschool stage is school. Should there be a formal education for family life? This is important. So family life, it in preschool age, it is something which is basically the whole responsibility of family life education lies with the family. The children spend the early formative period with parents and other family members. So the initiative in family life education is generally and it is always considered to come from home. You know, During infancy and early childhood, mothers have to take the lead role. So basic pattern of the personality is formed during the childhood time. Even the sex education is given by parents to their young child. You know, many years before they can begin to give him or her sex information. So sex education is different and sex information is different. To a growing girl, the mother is always the role model. You know, a little girl will always try to identify with her mother in many ways, but the girl should feel the warmth of her father too. It's very important, you know. Generally, it is observed that the this age children, you know, always consider mother as a girl, especially consider mother as their role model, but they are also need to be taught the value of a father. You know, the father also play a very important role. The voice of the father, the touch by the father, you know. So that is that also has a warmth in it. You know, father's strength and confidence, his behavior towards the daughter, that makes a lot of difference in the growing of the child. You know, girl child. So that's important. A growing boy learns from his father and mother, so the mother's concern, affection, and care for little things, tenderness, warmth, patience, all give him an image of an ideal woman. So this is something, you know, that makes a difference. So that's there. So now we will study about school years, that is generally considered between the age of 6 to 9 years. So what we need to understand of this age? So child becomes aware of gender roles. Appropriate role model becomes necessary too. At this stage, you know, the most important guidance a child can get is from the way the parents act as an adult human beings. So the attitude of the parents toward each other's work and duties is observed and absorbed by the children. You know, this is children, they always observe their children, you know, parents, how they are, how they behave, so that makes an impact on their personality, on their overall growth. So it says if the mother is always pressurizing her husband or failing in her duties towards the household, this adversely affects the child in future. You know, that is also a small example it has been given here that can make a difference to the child's life. The mother's attitude as a woman, wife, and mother, her acceptance of her own family, and the father's attitude to his masculine role, his fairness, his sense of purpose are basically predominant factors in the formation of the personality of a child. So that makes a difference. You know, so give it is very important to give children confidence and encouragement. You know, repetition does not hurt. It doesn't make a difference if you are repeatedly telling the child to do this or not to do this. It actually doesn't have a, it won't hurt the child. The children understand and accept it. Sometimes even the media plays a very important role, you know, about child's knowledge about sex and family at this stage. Sometimes the media plays a role in that. Then we have a pre-adolescent age. What is the pre-adolescent age? Pre-adolescent age generally, you know, we consider and we see that is the age of 9 to 12 years. So what all we need to do at this age? What do we understand about this? You know, so growing child wants to learn, to know. You know, he she observes everything that happens in the social setting of home, school, neighborhood, everywhere. The child observes, keep observing things. So at this age, he she try to understand and to work on the meaning of what he or she is observing. You know, child grows up and to feel proud and happy to be male or a female. In the long process of growing up to adulthood, you know, children may have to face many challenges in life at one time or the other. So imparting love at home is absolutely necessary for the development of a child. Home is a place where the child is needed, wanted, appreciated. This is something very important, you know, that this age, the teenage, before the teenage age begins, in this age, the children always feel that they are needed, they are wanted, and they are appreciated. So always, we all, you know, we all need to remember these things. You know, where it is, but love should be expressed. Love between the parents and between the parents and children is very important. to make a good family or to create a good family life education, to give a good life family life education. So, loving his her father and mother and other members of the family, the child later learns to love his her parents in marriage and his her own children. So, this is something what we learn from the family life. How can parents cater to good fatherhood and motherhood? That's important. So, basically, parental influence is the most important factor in molding a child's attitude towards fatherhood and motherhood. Examples the parents set throughout the year of their children's growth is the criteria in deciding whether the children will have a happy or unhappy family life. So this is really important. How does the peer group influence the pre-adolescent? The peer always has an important role. So this is the time of peer group influence. Parents should be aware of their children's friends. It is very important for the parents to know who all are the children's friends. So that's important to take a note of that. If the friends have attitude and values that are different from their own values, so they should talk to their children about it and try to guide them, help them to be a good model, to learn some good moral values. Then, should there be any limit to mingle with the peer group? See, parents have to set limit. This is something which is important for the parents to do. They can always set a limit that this is the time, this time you can be with your friends, you can play with them, you can spend time with them, you can watch movies with them. So you can always set a limit for that. Parents can do that. you know Talk in a very rational and loving manner with their children. So that's important. Then what is the influence of the mass media? So mass media is something which always has an influence on the children's growth. So sometimes the sexual things are very much visible in the mass media, so parents need to set the boundaries what all they want their children to see in the media. They can try to do that to avoid the children should not watch too many things which are not good for them. So, what should the school do? After the parents, the school should be taking up the main responsibility of educating the pre adolescent in family life. School can give more detailed and systematic teaching than the parents. Sometimes they can even develop suitable curriculum that could be drafted to cater to the needs of the youth, when they are turning to youthship. So some uh, curriculum can be developed that can help the children for their overall development. What type of sex education, what type of education should be given at this age at the school level? This is again very important. So there is a strong need for sex education at this stage. It should equip one with correct scientific information to face the challenging situations of adolescent children. Before one attains puberty, sex education can be imparted without involving emotional reactions. So basically, the education definitely should be given separately to girls and to boys, because this is the age where they can be taught different. The girls can be made to sit in a different place and boys can be made to sit at a different place, and they can be explained about their body parts and their sexual things. You know, because their age is such, if they mingle together they may not be able to understand certain things. So for that it is being written here. So this age children here, education preferably should be given separately to girls and boys. you know so classes of general hygiene, physiology, programs related to physical education, personality guidance, this all can be utilized for this purpose. So this is important. Now, next we have is adolescent. See, adolescence is the age, generally we consider the adolescence age between 12 to 18, 19 years. Generally from 12 to 19 years is considered as an adolescence age. So here it is considered as a transitional period in personality development, bridging the years between childhood and adulthood. Like any other period of transition, adolescence brings a number of adjustment problems. Adolescent needs, interests, and problems are different from those of childhood and adulthood. So, who can help the adolescent? So if we know and if we all understand that adolescence has a very different kind of a problems and issues due to their age, growing up age, they are neither the children nor the adults. So they have different kind of issues with them. So who can help the adolescent? So for this, parents, teachers, and many other elders should recognize if adolescents are facing any problem. Parents have a vital role to play in preparing the adolescent for his future family life. Yeah, it is very important. The first and foremost important role can be played by the parents for this. At the home, adolescent learns what it means to be a man or a woman. Through this experience, the boy is forming the concept of man, husband, and father. Girls learn the role of a woman, wife, and a mother. So, this is something what the child learns, what the adolescent learns. The basic thing, the first thing he learns from his home, from his family. So, that's important. So parents have to accept the child is going to be an adult. Parents must modify their protective roles. So that's important. Then the should the adolescent learn through trial and error. This can sometimes it happens. Parents must let the adolescent do the things on their own. So sometimes the role of the parent is only to guide and assist the young person when he she has a real problem. They should enjoy the process of a child growing in a young adult. Adolescents need love and reassurance, recognition, and praise from the parents to develop self confidence, believe, and trust in themselves, and to accept themselves as they are. Now, it is really very important for them to understand themselves. You know, that's important for them. It will help them basically to become a self reliant man or a woman, a confident husband or a wife at the later age. How can the school help the adolescent? See, a very systematic program of family life education can be developed at school level, you know, and schools to make the intelligent decision in the area of family living. Children should get correct information. They should also develop proper attitude, knowledge given to them by a feeling of security and protection. That's there. Sex education is again very important at this stage. So sex is not just a subject, like any arithmetic or a history or a maths. So hence it is not advisable to offer it as a subject, but it can be explained, in a maybe in an informal kind of a setting or a thing the child is able to understand. What should be taught? See, see, it is something the children need to be taught, introduced with the concept relating to sexual maturity, conception, childbirth, illicit sex relation, STDs, HIV, AIDS, etc. All these kind of things te- uh, need to be taught to the children. There should be healthy heterosexual relationship among boys and girls. These are the things what the children need to learn. So family life education at this stage should provide opportunity for the youth to observe nursery schools in operation, observe the care of small babies, and learn more about parenthood and child training. So, this is what we have now covered the fourth unit. So, now we are going to start with our fifth unit. See, basically, this is the unit where we are going to talk about personality, development of personality and moral values. This unit is very important because in this unit we are going to touch many important aspects, and those are very important even from the examination point of view and for your personal learning also. Yeah. So, so here, nature, definition, and development of personality. So, personality basically is a word that is derived from the Latin word persona, that means mask. Personality is something deeper than the outward appearance. It describes a person's character, emotional disposition, sociability, and other aspects of what a person says and does. So, personality development implies tracing the connection between the personality of a child and that of an adult. Basically, it is the understanding of how adult behavior and psychological process. evolve from a child. So, so this is very important. Uh, I would just here, I'm just going to say one definition given by Gordon Allport. According to him, personality is the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment to his environment. So this line is very important. The unique adjustment to his environment. So personality development is something that we learn here. It recognizes the importance of adjustment to the environment. It stresses on the importance of psychophysical systems, that is habits, sentiments, emotions and motives of an individual, which are psychological in nature but have a physical base. So this is what we have learned about this. Now, what are the moldings? How we can mold the personality? What all we need to learn about this? Here there are no specific causes leading to change in personality, but a number of factors interact with one another in the formation of personality and in its development. First is heredity. See, heredity plays an important part in determining one's personality. You know, an individual gets his entire hereditary endowment at the time of conception from his her father and mother through the genes located in the chromosomes. So, personality pattern of a person is actually framed at this time. A child inherits mainly the raw materials of his and her personality, physique, sex, intelligence, etc. So this is something. So heredity is something which is very important in the personality development. Second is environment. See, important environment factors what are that exert pressures on our personality formation are culture in which we are growing up, our family, our friends, social and community groups, everything makes a important plays a very important role in that. So culture establishes the norms, attitudes, and values. Okay. See, the culture basically establishes the norms, attitude, and values that are transmitted from one generation to another, and family. See, the family means that the family consists of parents and siblings. So, family basically is a small group, but the intimate relationship among the family members influence the personality development of the individual in a powerful manner. See, home environment, the school, the child, that how the friends are, the number of siblings, their personalities, everything makes a difference in child's growth. Then economic environment also makes a difference. If there is an unfavorable kind of economic environment that can have a unhealthy kind of a personality, can lead an unhealthy kind of attitude of the child's development. It could have inferiority feelings, nervousness, emotionally lack of social initiative. So sometimes it can lead to even bitterness against society. So this all can have a economic empowerment impact. Then you have a social roles. So social roles means social conditions in the family are also decisive factors in personality development of an individual. Then you have the situation. See, heredity and environment on personality they makes a very important situation for any person's growth, overall personality development. So that's there. So now we are going to study about theoretical approach to personality development. Here, see, now when we are going to talk about theoretical approach of personality development, so everything is very important in this. See, because you will generally have questions on the theories of personality development. So here we will start with the theory of one person, that is Freud. So we will understand certain things from here. See, development of personality is a unique feature of an individual. So different psychologists approach personality development from different viewpoints or different perspectives. So biological perspective. So first of all, there is very important for us to understand what is the biological perspective. So as we were talking about the heredity just a few minutes back, so biological perspective has been, you know, it has been found that 50% of personality characteristics are genetically determined. So that is very important for us to understand that 50% of personality, characteristics are developed through our biological development. So that's important. Then second is psychoanalytic theory. So, this theory assumes that the basic dynamics of personality includes the conflict between two opposite forces. Anxiety arises from the inhibition of desires. So, this is first very important, that anxiety arises from the inhibitions of desire. So, and the second is defense. We have a defense against those desires that arouse anxiety. So these are the very important forces, two opposite forces that has a link to it. Now, the Freud. See, Freud's theory. Here we need to understand the theory given by Freud. It is very important, this theory you all please understand, because this is something, though it has a psychological impact, and the people who study psychology, they also study about the Freud theory on personality development, because it is very important. And even for your social work course also, you must understand this theory. So what is the theory of Freud? So Freud, the major contribution in this field comes from Sigmund Freud. His full name is Sigmund Freud. He explains the personality as the existence of conscious, preconscious, and unconscious in an individual. So he believes in now, you know, he believes in it, ego, and the superego. So, what is it, ego and superego? It is considered to be unconscious stage. It basically applies with two instincts. One is the life instinct and one is the death instinct. Then it is something that has one major principle, and that principle is pleasure principle of pleasure, because it gives you a pleasure. It is something that gives you a feeling of a pleasure. Then we go to ego. So what is ego? Ego is basically a manager of the personality, that manages the personality. That goes with one principle, that is a principle of reality. Ego is something at the time when we live in reality, in a real situation. You know, it controls, selects, and decide what instincts of the id need to be satisfied, and in what manner, and how we have to go about it. And the third thing is superego. Superego basically has a principle of morality. You know, our it has a principle of pleasure, our ego has a principle of reality, and our superego has a principle of morality that represents values of the society. So, human personality basically is the result of the interaction among these systems. So this is really very important. है ना? The presence of a powerful ego ensures a well-balanced personality. Ego is something. It is something you desire, what you want to do. Ego is something that has a something with what we can observe in reality that is there, that can have still has a kind of a balanced personality that can control things. And dominance of superego leads to a neurotic personality sometimes, while supremacy of it over ego and superego ends up in the delinquent of a delinquent personality. Sometimes, if there is an accept, if the supremacy of id, if id is something, means if to give you an example of this, if a child wants, the child, it says that he wants an ice cream. if the ice cream fellow is there, you know, and if he feels that he can steal it and he can have, but the ego says no, you have to wait, that you should get it in the right way. And the super ego will always tell, no, this is not principally right. So this is how we really need to understand our id ego and super ego with those three principle what I told you, principle of pleasure, reality and morality. That's how we have to go about it. Now, here we need to understand the basically the five stages, the psychosexual stages in personality development. This is again being given by Freud. So before we go on this, there is one term that is called erogenous zones. What do we understand by erogenous zone? So in each stage of development, a child derives pleasure by stimulating a particular area of the body. So these are known as erogenous zones. See, erogenous zone, matlab, it's a kind of a feeling that gives you pleasure, or that, kind of a love. So this is what you understand by erogenous zones. So environment, however, imposes restrictions in the satisfaction of his desires. How the child manages this conflict in the critical in his personality development. So now these are the stages. First is oral stage. What do we understand by oral stage? See, oral stage is the age when the child is up to the year of 1 year. So this is the age where the child, kind of a, it has the more and more stimulation of the mouth. The young child, the child below age year mostly has a breastfeeding or a bottle feeding. So the child learns sucking and all. If the child has a problem, so if the child is having a is unable to get that in a right manner, the adult's personality traits like adjustability and tenacity can have, you know. So basically, uh, in this age, there is a kind of a fixation. Fixation basically results in formation of passive personality. It is associated, if the child is not able to get the milk, the way I was sharing with you, that generally the young children get the breastfeeding or the bottle sucking, and they are not able to get that as per their way of getting it, and not being given that properly. So they can have a negative impact on their personality. This can lead to, when they grow older, this can lead to overeating, smoking, drinking, you know or sarcasm, kind of a criticism of others ideas. So this can lead to these kind of problems. Now the second stage is anal stage. This is the age of 2 to 3 years of age children. So in this stage, basically, what does the child learns? Child achieve bowel control, at this age. So we can see that the parents are too strict in teaching toilet habits, the child develops anxiety. If the parents are very strict, they are telling that you have to do is, you cannot, do it on the bed, or you can't do it at certain places. So sometimes, if they are very strict, when they are teaching the child about this bowel control things, so sometimes this can lead to anxiety. The child learns anxiety. He manifests anxiety and anger by exerting at the most inappropriate time and place. So these are basically the traits of cruelty, destructiveness, temper tantrums, these kind of disorder lines, etc. This kind of a thing can happen with the child. On the other hand, you know praise for exerting at the proper time and place makes him feel that he is an important activity. So this ideas lays the foundation of creativity and productivity. See, so we have learned from here the child. If the child is been very strictly taught about this bowel control things, it can have a negative impact. But if the child has been taught in a very polite and nice manner about this bowel control thing, that can have a very positive impact on his overall development. Then, next is phallic stage. So, what is phallic stage? So phallic stage is something that happens in the age of 4 to 6 years. You know, so this is very important period in the personality development of a person. At this stage, pleasurable sensation comes from self manipulation of genital organs. In some cases, sexuality produces guilt feelings in an individual. In this stage, there is a Oedipus conflict. So that means a complex in which there is a strong attraction for the parents of the opposite sex and envy for the same sex parents. This can happen. You all may have seen that sometimes we observe when they are this age 4 to 6 years children, sometimes they have a feeling, more feeling for the opposite sex parents. If it's a girl child, she may feel more comfortable and like to, do things whatever the father is doing and like to follow father, and has a kind of a not very positive about the mother. So it, but at the same time that happens that the child does not want to lose the love and affection of the same sex parent also. So to resolve this claim, this kind of a conflict, if this kind of a conflict develops, what is to be done? The child tries to identify with the same sex parent also. See, though he has a liking for the opposite sex parents, but this child still tries to see that how he can kind of a control this feeling. What all he needs to do. So what he or she can do is incorporate the sexual orientation, mannerism, and values of the same sex parents. He may try to identify himself or herself with the same sex parents. So that can, have some kind of a proper impact. So this can also, this is the this Oedipus complex results in the formation of superego also. So this kind of a behavior, if child develops, so it can lead to a superego kind of a personality. So that can happen. So Freud assumes that every person is bisexual. Generally there's a feeling, and especially from this Freud, he always felt, that every human being, is a kind of a bisexual kind of a person. There is an attraction towards members of the opposite sex as well as of the same sex. It is something which is not very uncommon. This can happen with anybody and everybody. Everybody can feel some kind of a attachment towards the same sex person also. Then, latency period. This is the period of the child when the child is between the age of 6 to 12 years. So, what? So as per Freud, he thought sexual urges are more dormant at this stage. Means sexual urges are not very commonly seen. They are very dormant at this stage. So friends of a boy at this stage are other boys. And likewise, if the girls are there in this age, 6 to 12 years of age, they make more friends of the same sex people. So this has been explained here also. So this is a stage in which this learning takes place. The child also begins to achieve emotional independence. It is the time, it is the age when child learns to become emotional independent. That is very important for we all to understand. An increase in the knowledge about his her environment enhances his her ego development. So this is what we have learned about latency period. Next is genital stage. Genital age is after 12. There is no time period mentioned here. So after 12 till the adulthood, this is the genital age. So this is the final stage of the development. So sexual interest reawakens at this stage, because in the latency period we said that they are dormant, but when a child is above 12 years of age, so these kind of a sexual interest are reawakens. So there is, interest in the opposite sex, sexual attraction, socialization, and planning for the vocation, marriage, and family life begins at this age. So this is the time where the children, from 12 years onwards, they learn to attraction towards the different sex, socialization, and planning for the vocational marriage, and all such kind of things happen at this age. So if a person is well adjusted in this previous stage, he will be capable of establishing normal heterosexual relationships. So this is important. If the child develops, if the child has been given a proper knowledge and proper education and proper development and being, if the growth is normal in normal sense, that can have a very positive impact, and the child can have a very normal heterosexual life. So this is what it is. Now, next we will talk about the other theories. Some of the other important theories. So this here it talks about social cognitive theory. So psychoanalytic theory is a broad term including behavioral and social learning uh, theories as well as the cognitive psychology. Most of the learning theorists followed the pioneers in this field.
The PPT is not showing, ma.
Sorry,
The PPT is not showing. The
not
presentation is not showing. It's not the screen. It's not on the screen.
it is not on the screen.
We are able to see it. It's only you.
To me, it is visible on the screen. I don't know why it is not visible to you. To others also, or it is only to the one person.
We are able to see it, madam.
You can see now.
Go on, ma.
I am proceeding with it because I feel it is to me it is visible on the screen. So I hope it should be visible to others. And the person who
No,
cannot see me,
it's visible to me now, ma.
yeah, okay, thank you. Fine, good.
Thank you, ma.
Yeah. Yeah, so now I am going to talk about some of the other important theories. So, in this social cognitive theory, there is a theory by Albert Bandura. That is a theory of social learning theory. So that basically talks about a child, for example, observes and imitates the behavior of a role model. So in this theory talks about a role model. The reinforcement received by the model serves as a reinforcement for the child. You all may have observed in your childhood also, when we were children, we always have maybe another teacher, maybe our parent, or maybe our relative, or maybe our friend or somebody. We at times consider somebody as a role model and likes to follow that person, how he or she behaves, and follow certain things from her and to learn from him. So this is basically is been explained by Albert Bandura in this social learning theory, that it has a there is a perception of a role model in this theory. So various components of learning: environment, behavior, and personal or cognitive variables. They interact with each other to form a particular pattern of behavior. You know, for example, a student choosing a particular subject for study, his her choice is influenced by his or family members or friends or somebody in an environment, and also by his or her own personal preferences. That could be personal cognitive factors. So all these are mutually influencing factors. So all that makes a difference. So this is basically about this theory. Then other important theory is being given by Carl Rogers. So Carl Rogers theory is very important. This basically this theory talks about, it is mainly Carl Rogers theory is a self theory to explain personality development. Every day and every minute we are confronted by a number of events in our environment, and how do we perceive and interpret these experiences determine our behavior. So this is something which is very important. In this, the self concept is very important. It has a long and continuous process. How we perceive our experience, negative or positive, depends about our self concept. So basically, self concept is developed as a result of a person's interaction with social experiences. For example, somebody tells you that you are a very smart and intelligent young boy. You will include this image in your concept of yourself. You feel and you believe, in this you believe that yes, you can be, consider yourself as a smart boy or as a, intelligent young boy. You consider that as a self concept. So you accept that and move on with that. So sometimes it happens that individuals may develop a false self image. So sometimes it can have this kind of a image. You may consider yourself to be too good or too bad. Maybe somebody has told you you are not a good person, and you again, somehow due to somebody's behavior or somebody's saying, you develop that kind of a feeling that you are not a good person, but actually you may be a very good person, very good human being. So sometimes it can lead to some kind of a negative impact. So that's important. Now the next is self actualization theory. See, yesterday when I was talking to you, so there also I talked to you about this Abraham Maslow's theory. This is basically a theory that talks about hierarchy of needs. Here, I please all of you note down one thing. In self actualization, please, I'm telling everybody to note down this thing. uh, uh, कि in this self actualization theory, the figure is not made correctly. The figure has some faults in it. So when you want to see this figure, when you are reading about this self-actualization theory, please go to the first block, go to the page number 27 and see that figure. That is the correct figure. There it has been explained. The figure has been made clearly and explains this theory. I am explaining you about this theory now because this theory is very important. you know when you if you get a question of personality development theories, you can write down the theory given by the Freud that I talked in detail to you, and you can again talk about the self actualization theory because this theory is also very important. And the other theories you can write two lines, but this theory is very important and it helps you to learn. This can give you a learning, well learning in this. So in this, there is one figure made, and that is a triangle. It is a triangle. It's a figure states that first it talks about physiological needs. Because it talks about hierarchy of needs. This theory talks about hierarchy of needs, and it starts with physiological needs. So physiological needs consist of food, clothing, and shelter. From there, then the next comes to safety needs. So in safety needs, we talk about employment, health, safety, security, things like that. Then it goes to belongingness and love needs. So that means intimate relationship, having friends, and friendship and families and all. So that is the belongingness and love needs. Next is self-esteem needs. So self-esteem needs means feeling of accomplishment. You feel that you have accomplished something and you are in a position to do something. So that is very important. Then the last is self actualization. That means fulfillment of all your potential, including your creative activity and everything. So it has, this is a this figure starts from the bottom to the top with the level. It starts from physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love needs, self esteem needs, and self actualization needs. So, as I said, you can see about this figure at page number 27 in the first block. That gives you the correct figure, which somehow it has been mistakenly not done here correctly. So, please note that. Huh? See now, so only after the satisfaction of a need at a lower level does the next need becomes dominant. If you are able to, here it has been explained. The satisfaction of primary need motivates secondary needs. Every individual moves up the steps of the given hierarchy because only after satisfying the basic needs which are essential for one's survival one can think about the higher needs. For example, a hungry man, hungry man cannot think about reforming a society. If somebody is hungry and somebody tells him and talks to him about the improvement and bring the changes in the society, so he is not willing to talk about that because his first needs is to fill his stomach, and if he's thirsty is to drink water. So he can't think about the society at that time. So this is what is being given this a short example to explain, you know, how it goes by step. One needs to learn how we are supposed to work in that. So there are some people who stand for ideals, religious and social values without caring for the satisfaction of their own needs. Sometimes you see people, they talk so big and they talk about doing certain things in the, in the society, and they forget their first and more important thing is to see their first life, how they are, their basic needs are fulfilled, they are able to raise themselves in a correct manner. Only then talking about bringing changes to the society can have an impact, and can lead to some good results. So this is being basically, so hierarchy of needs has been explained in this theory that has been given by Abraham Maslow. So this theory is very important. If you all learn this theory, it is very easy, very simple, and this can again help you to even go score good marks when you write about the theories of personality development. So this can have a good impact on that. Next is trait approach. Okay, huh. I'll just tell you about this trait approach. I think I have somehow it is not here. So the in the trait approach, it has been given by one author is G.B. Alport. He said that he has classified this into three traits. First is cardinal trait, second is central trait, and third is secondary trait. So, what is cardinal trait? In the cardinal trait, basically that is most generalized kind of a setting. It is mainly goal oriented because entire life seems to revolve like a person. In India, we consider for this, we give an example of Mahatma Gandhi, or we can give an example uh, of Indira Gandhi, or any other very known big figure. So you can consider that. In the central trait, we consider this as less generalized. Here, the people could be more warm, sincere, friendly, you know, and they could be a job oriented and job recommendation. So they believe in that. Third is secondary. So in the secondary, they are least generalized. In this, everybody may feel that he or she should be preferred. He or she likes to have a certain things in life. So these are the three traits that has been given by GB Alport. So that's important. So now we go to the next part, and that is next is our development of moral values. Here we are going to study the development of moral values. So, when we talk about moral values basically refer to a set of principles that guides an individual on how to evaluate right versus wrong. So moral value teaches what is right and what is wrong. you know so every cultural group has its own morals or standards of approved behavior. Sometimes certain acts are considered right because they are conducive to the welfare of its members, while certain others acts are considered wrong because they are dangerous to the welfare of the society. So this is what we understand by this rights and wrongs. Here basically how do they learn the moral values as they grow up? So psychologists have been trying to find answers to these questions. No one is born with knowledge of what one's cultural group consider right or wrong. As the child grows older, his or her conduct also develops and reflects upon his or her own moral life as well as that of a group in which the person is a member. So this is there. So how do moral values influence the personality of an individual? See, personality of the individual means moral values directly influence the quality of the person's behavior and judgment. Person learns the values that satisfy his her needs and desires and are at the same time approved by the good. The moral values acquired by an individual are the reflection of his or her personality. How do we learn moral values? This is again important. How do we learn? So there are certain cultural norms of behavior which are controlled by our society. We all live in a society, so there are certain norms set by the society. So certain behaviors we need to follow as per the society norms. So learning moral values refer to the manner, in which a child internalizes those norms of behavior. She may develop moral concepts by learning what is right and what is wrong, and also to understanding the use of punishment and other techniques in inculcating moral values in children. So now we are going to study the theories of moral development. See, earlier we have studied the theories of personality development. Now we are going to study the theories of moral development. So there is a slight difference. So we will study the some of the important theories of uh, moral development. So here I'm not going to touch the first two, three theories. I am going straight to the theory that has been given by Piaget's theory, and with Piaget, the Kohlberg's extension of Piaget's theory, because these are important. The other theories have some similarities that we have studied earlier, when we have studied the theories of personality development, we have studied these above stories in that level. So I'm not going to touch that again. So I'm going to study about the other theories. So Piaget's theory, what is this Piaget's theory? So one of the earliest theories in the field is propounded by Piaget. So basically, see, the Piaget's theory is something that is considered the earliest theory, the prior theory, the initiative, the initial stories, the theories. See, so he emphasized the importance of rules in moral development. According to him, moral development is acquiring the acceptance and respect for rules applied in different situations. See, basically, he identified two stages of moral development. So, what are the two important stages of moral development? So, first stage is the stage of the when the child is around the age of 5. So that time the child begins to recognize rules and show respect for them. This stage is called heteronomous morality. So heteronomous morality is a first stage he talked about. So for the what is the meaning of heteronomous? Heteronomous means under the authority of another. Rules are viewed as external features of the society. There is automatic obedience to rules without reasoning or judgment. Because as I said, that this is the stage that talks about the child who's at the age of 5, and I have studied that this is the age between 5 to 9 years. So this is the time when child always learns from others. Child follows the direction of others. The child follows the commands of others. So this is what has basically the external features are important in the life of a child. So this is what it is mean by heteromonous, morality. See, why does a child obey rules without questioning? So, there are many reasons. First of all, these rules are enforced on him by adults who are very powerful, you know, people in his life. The second reason is intellectual immaturity of the child. He does not know that rules can be modified because he is such a small person. As I said, this is between the age of 5 to 9 years. This is the age the child is not in a position to decide what is right or wrong for him. whether he can take a right decision for himself. So he follows the commands of the elders at home. It could be parents, grandparents, or any other person in authority in the family can have an impact on the development of the child. And what is the Piaget's second stage? So second stage is called as autonomous morality. So what is autonomous morality? So at this stage, children use their reasoning power and question, you know, the propriety of rules. This is the age when in here it is written 5 to 12, but I have read it at other places. There it talks about when the children are in the age of above 10 years. So this is the time when they are in a position to take decisions for themselves. They can do the reasoning on their own. So so this is the time, a child's concept of justice changes. His concept of justice, he knows what is right and wrong for him. He is in a position to take a stand for himself. She understand the rules are not rigid, they are flexible, and they can be revised according to the situation, depending on the wills of the majority. Peer group influence is very prominent at this stage. We have studied about the peer group influence. So this has a very important role to play when the child is above 10 years of age, when the child is in a position to take a decision, to decide about the, in a way of justice, what is correct, what is not correct for him. So he is in a position to decide. So with this Piaget's theory, there is an extension that is being given by Kohlberg's extension of Piaget's theory. What does we mean by that? See, See, in this, it is basically this Kohlberg employs a level and stage approach, in moral development. According to him, there are six moral stages and there are three levels. So in three levels he is going to talk about six stages. So this is important. This theory is again very important for we all to learn here. You all can, try to understand this theory. I will try to explain whatever possible ways in a simple language I can. So here we are going to study three levels and six stages. So every level has two stages, So there is one level and two stages, second level and two stages, and third level and two stages. So what is the first level? So first level is pre-conventional level. So pre-conventional level means moral values reside in external happenings. Moral understanding is based on rewards, punishment, and the power of authority figure. So this basically pre-conventional level stage is for children between the age of 3 to 7 years. It has been considered important that pre-conventional level is 3 to 7 years age children. So in this first stage is punishment obedience orientation. So children adopt generally good behavior out of fear for punishment. They do not want to get into trouble by disobeying the authority. See, as I said, it is basically for 3 to 7 years age children. So they are at this age. Children follow the commands. Children follow that they can be punished if they don't do something right, and if they demand for something, if they are not being given, so they know that if they demand it too high, it will not be given and they will be punished for that. So this is the first stage. And second stage is instrumental purpose. That means basically a self-interest. Moral choices is made on the basis of the satisfaction of personal needs and occasionally the needs of others. They begin to understand the people can have different perspective in a moral dilemma. So basically here this is the stage that talks about self-interest. Now, second level. Second level is called conventional level. First was pre-conventional. Now we are going to talk about conventional level. Here we are going to talk about children between the age of 8 to 13 years. So 8 to 13 years. So this is the stage of most adolescent and adults in our society. You may ask now, what is meant by the term conventional? So, yeah, so convention means conformity to the rules, expectation, and conventions of the society in which one lives. We are living in a particular society, so this means conformity. You obey the rules, you follow the rules, you follow the expectations, and there are certain conventions. So you believe in that, so you go as per that. So basically, this is the stage. It is a kind of has more it gives more emphasis to external ethics. How society thinks, how the people thinks, how the people living in the society thinks. So moral values at this stage reside in conforming to the social rules. Conforming will ensure that social order and behavior according to the expectations of others. It helps the individual to establish positive human relationships. So that's important. Again, here there are two stages. The stages here are good boy, good boy, girl orientation. That means the desire to get approval and affection from relatives and the peer group. You know, that motivates good behavior in children. They want to please and help others. you know so basically it has something to link with praise and reward. So the second stage is social order maintaining orientation. That means to believe in law and order, believe in morality. you know in this stage the individual does his duty to maintain the roles of the society. He respects the authority. you know the social order is maintained for one's own sake and for the welfare of the society. So, in this conventional level, that where we basically talked about 8 to 13 years of age children and the children who are slowly growing up, and it basically focused on external ethics and how we believe in the society, how the praise and reward can play an important role, how we have to follow law and order, and how we have to believe in morality. Now, third level is post conventional level. First was pre conventional, second was conventional, and third is post conventional level. So post conventional level is considered for adulthood. you know so this is highest level of moral development. At this level, individual defines morality in terms of abstract principles and values that apply to all situations and societies. It has two stages. First is social contract orientation. So in this social contract orientation, see, it talks about that it between the rights of the individual and accepted laws of the society. It means it understands the law can be changed to protect the rights of the majority. Main emphasis of this stage is community welfare. It focuses on protection of human rights. So this is the stage which is very important because that focuses more on the society, the values of the society, the human rights, the community welfare. So we will focus on all such aspects. Then last stage in this is universal ethical principle orientation. Universal ethical principle orientation. What do we understand by that? So this stage is a conscience oriented. In this, he/she does not strictly adhere to social rules, but is motivated by universal human values. In this stage, it guides the individual in making moral decisions. Basically, here we follow more the society rules and expectations are followed in this stage. So this is how you know we have studied about Kohlberg's extension of Piaget's theory. We have learned at these three levels and six stages to understand, and this can help you also for your examination purpose. That this can probably will talk about this aspect. We can explain that in detail, even with the material what is given in your book. In your blogs, you can use that and answer to your thing in this. After that, now we have environment influence on moral development. So, environmental influence on moral development is something, it has some factors which are important. First is peer group interaction. So, interaction among with age mates promotes moral understanding. Child has no inhibitions in engaging in intense animated discussions about moral issues with friends of his age group. Then you have child rearing practices. So child rearing practices means that means that physical punishment for a wrong act produce negative attitude in a mind. See, if any child who gets more and more of physical punishment, it can always lead to negative attitude in him, in a child. So children are afraid of punishment. Basically, to avoid punishment, child may rationalize his or her action or may tell lies sometimes to escape. Child even be aggressive with no concern for others. So best method is to have a discussion with the child. Make him or her understand the consequences of the act that are related to himself and to others. So this is important. Then third is discipline. So discipline is the individual in developing moral values. Disciplining children, adults should emphasize the reason why an act is considered right while another one is wrong. This is important. If there are some moral values and we need to understand what is right and what is not right, what is wrong. So in this, it talks about rewards and punishment. If there is something which has a more right aspect to that, and it can always lead to rewards. Strong educational values can lead to rewards, and if something is negatively influenced, that can lead to punishment. So this is what it explains. Then the fourth is other factors. So other factors are neighborhood, school, mass media, TV, newspaper, magazines. You know, they teach the child cultural approved values of his social group. So now the last few lines about personality development and moral values. See here, development of personality takes place at home, at school, and in society, in the presence of others. The child learns moral values also from these sources. Young people need to be made aware of the importance of good values in life so that as the child grows older and as his or her personality develops, we should acquaint him or her with a moral code accepted by the society. So, so this is something which is very important for us to understand. So I think I close this for today. I thought of going with the three modules, but somehow this subject is such that I could not touch on the three units today. I covered two units with you. If whatever I have explained to you today, if any one of you has any question, any queries, any doubt, I would be happy to answer. Please ask. You can ask me freely and comfortably you can question me. I could not cover the three units today because this unit, what I have talked to you today about this personality development is very important and it is very lengthy. I wanted you all to understand this concept in a more clear manner because this personality development, this is not a psychology. You are not studying psychology as a complete subject, but this portion of psychology has been considered to teach you in this subject. So, for me, it is very important that I should explain this topic to you in a simpler manner that can help you when you learn, when you study. It will help you to understand the concept, more clearly. So, that was my basic aim for that. So, tomorrow I will, now anyway, I will now try to cover three units in all the four classes what we have. So we will be able to cover the complete course because we have 17 units. So anyway, today I cover two units, but in the next four classes, we'll cover three units in one class. So anyone has any question, please ask. Yes, Francis.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the presentations. It was nice listening to you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question relating to the psychosexual development. You mentioned it somewhere to say sexual orientation has to do with both sexes.
Huh,
We are
yeah,
attracted, yeah, we are
yeah.
attracted to both male, both females.
Yeah,
Now, my
see,
question
actually,
is,
1 minute
yes,
before you ask me a question, in our
okay,
next classes, our second unit is about sex education. So,
yes,
in our second block, this is the first block we have studied about family life education. In our second block, the second block in totality, we are going to study about sex education. There, we are going to study about the roles of home, role of school, role of media, and role of society. Everything we are going to study, and every little aspect is covered under the sex education block, the second block what we are going to start from tomorrow. But if besides this you have any question, please ask. Yeah,
all right, thank you so much. Yeah,
yeah.
so my question is, from the anno stage to the oral stage. This one I want to help myself to say, when we discuss of gays and lesbians, it has to do with the sexual orientation towards same sex. Is it a question of fixation, or is a question of choice related to personality development?
Actually, I'm not really able to understand it correctly. If I can, you are talking about same sex.
Same-sex orientation. You say a man can be oriented to a fellow man, and a woman.
It is. I read just. It was just a single line where I read it
Okay,
that the same sex is also considered fine. Bisexual. I used the word bisexual in one of my
bisexual.
studies.
Okay,
Yeah. So it
I
was
see.
considered that it is again something which is not to be considered wrong. There are,
Okay,
we are the people generally we considered in heterosexual thing. Sex
okay,
between men and a woman, but nowadays,
exactly.
as we all know, that we are talking about homosexuality also, that is something happening. There are people, and in India also, even the Supreme Court has given a green signal and accepted that if the people who are in gay kind of a relationship, that is being accepted. So that is there. But if there is a tendency, and maybe at a certain age of life, there is a possibility that the person may feel, a kind of a sexual orientation towards both sex, that can still be considered normal, because that may be in a particular phase somebody is feeling like that. It may not be a normal routine manner. Somebody is going to believe in that to go ahead with that. It is something, it may be a temporary phase, or it may be in a time that somebody feels okay to be in a sexual relationship with the same sex also and with the opposite sex also. So it was here. Then I shared with you about that. It was written just in one line. It was not explained. It was a very small sentence. It was just mentioned that there is no harm if there is something like that is there. But this is again something which is generally not in practice. If it is there, it may be acceptable, but we are going to study, in more details, and many other things related to it. I don't think I'm going to talk about bisexual thing in my course of sex education from starting from tomorrow. But otherwise, we will study, many other aspects which can answer to many things, many of your questions.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for the highlights. I understand. I asked it because, as social workers, we are going to encounter such questions in our work,
Yeah, yeah,
especially in Africa. It is hardly being accepted that a
yeah.
person can be bisexual. So, we wanted to at least establish a ground. How are we going to handle this? Is it
Yeah,
is
it
it
is
is it
something,
a
because
cost?
sometimes sometimes there are no fixed answer to be given if you face these kind of questions from the people. Mostly nowadays, the common thing is homosexual. and that is
Yes.
basically the gay thing, lesbian or gay thing is happening. And it is, as I just mentioned, the Supreme Court of India has also given a green signal and also accepted that if the people are, they can be accepted, they should not be, not allowed to live in the society. It should not be considered like that. They should be allowed
Okay.
to lead their life, this has been accepted in India. So, but I don't know about South Africa how, and especially about your country, how it is. But in India, it has slowly being recognized and being accepted. So, this, as per your country norm, the way how the things are, you have to, go as per the law of your country and explain the things according to that.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, yeah. So, if there are no other questions, so we can close. It's okay. So we'll close now. Okay. So see you all tomorrow at 3 Try to bring more and more people. Like really, at least good get more listeners are there. Okay.
What do you say, ma'am?
So thank you all and goodbye to all. Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Have a good day.
Yeah, good day to all of you. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Kutemwera madzi pari.
Amanze muri wenu. Grace Zabobo. Manuel. Grace.